How sick does the car look coming in then? So this video actually comes just after me reinsuring the RS3 for next year. Now, there's a few things that I want to go through and some tips that I've picked up along the way. I am now 31 years old. I know, right? Proper old. But I see people getting into cars like this, you know, hot hatches, M4s, M3s, various cars like that in their low 20s. And there was a fair few people out there that wanted me to do an insurance-based video, especially with the RS3. So, from personal experience, I want to go through a few tips that I've picked up along the way that will bring down your insurance. Now, there is no hack for cheap insurance, I think. There are different things you can do. I wouldn't say lying is key. I would say always make sure you're telling your insurer exactly what is on your car, where you live, where it's parked, all that sort of stuff. Because at the end of the day, if something does happen to the car that you put all of that money into, that you have on finance, if you know, put loads of money into the mods, if something happens to this and your insurance company find out that you've lied, it's a bad time for you. Now, this car for this year is now insured by Green Light Insurance. Now, this is not sponsored video by Green Light. They are my good friends, and they were able to challenge a lot of quotes that I got, especially through Money Supermarket and various other insurance-based search engines on the internet, and they came through with the best deal with all of the mods declared. Now, of course, we are talking about me being 31 years old with a modified car. Of course, things are going to be a lot cheaper than if you were to try and insure this thing in, you know, your early 20s. Say you're 22, 23 and you're thinking of getting something like this. Even without mods, it's going to be expensive. So the first thing I'm going to say is when you are in your lower 20s, say underneath 25, go for something that is relatively standard. I know that sounds so silly from someone that absolutely loves modified cars and loves putting silly things on them. I mean, yep. It's one of those things though, when you are younger, you really got to watch putting stuff on your car and insuring it. It will increase. So if you tell your insurance company you've put an exhaust on it, if you put wheels on it and stuff like that, it will go up. But you have to do these things, people. I understand there will be people out there like, no, I've done it for years, I've never insured a mod, blah blah. If something happens, as I've already said, you're in trouble. So the first tip I'm probably going to go with is that if you are, you know, under 25, just make sure you know what you want to put on your car in that year, and you are telling your insurance company. If you get an initial quote for a car that is relatively good and you want to put an exhaust on it, tell them. If you want to put an air filter on it, tell them, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that comes worse off if something does happen to the car. Now, of course, that will increase your premium, don't get me wrong, but you have to pay these things, otherwise it's going to go south really quickly when things happen. Just like this car, I planned all of the mods on it and told my insurance company prior to me actually putting them on the car, which sounds silly, but I want to make sure that my car is fully insured at all times, because I do a lot of mileage, you know, we do trips and it is on the internet constantly. So making sure that this car is fully declared, fully legitimate, is key. The next thing would be limiting your mileage when you are a little bit younger. So I live on the Isle of Wight, and if I didn't do traveling for the channel and various little bits and bobs, I would probably only do 3,000 to 5,000 miles a year, which sounds insane to a lot of people that may be not from the Isle of Wight. But in previous cars, I've actually only ever done about 5,000 miles before I started YouTube and before I started driving around and stuff. So limiting your mileage is a good way of doing it, but it does mean if you do go over that, you will be charged. Next up will be paying annually. Now, if I wanted to pay this annually, so off in one instead of monthly payments, it would have brought the payments down by around 80 to 90 pounds. So that is one of those things. If you do have the money to actually physically buy your insurance when you insure the car, it will be cheaper for you. Obviously, this does not work for everybody. To be honest, I've never done it. I've always paid monthly for my insurance, but that is because sometimes I change my car a lot. Next up is improving the security on your car. Now, if you tell them that you have a Clifford alarm or any other alarm on your car, this will obviously bring the premium down over the year because there is better security on the car. If you do live in central London and you want good insurance, that is a must. I do know a lot of people, or at least spoke to a lot of people, that have bought brand new M3, M4s, various other cars, and actually physically gone and put a tracking and alarm system on the car from the factory opted one just to bring their insurance insurance down, and obviously make sure that their car doesn't go walkies. Now, building up your no claims is an obvious way to bring down your insurance on cars. So I actually physically have, I think it's 12 years no claims bonus, and although people have pulled out of me in the past, you know, with the Lexus and stuff, if you guys remember from a few years ago, that didn't actually change my no claims bonus, which was the main thing, but it did mean that I had to put down on my insurance that had happened. It didn't affect it in that sense, but it did mean that I had to say it every time I went and got an insurance quote. Again, guys, that will only work, you know, a no claims discount will only work if you are insured for a few years and you obviously don't like crash. The next thing would be adding other people to your policy. So if your mum wants to come on your policy, it will bring it down, but just make sure your insurance company know who is driving at various points. I have heard in the past that someone's put their mum on the insurance and they've actually physically asked the mother how many miles they're going to be doing in the car. Now, I don't think that they can check up on this, I'm not really sure, but that is one of the pitfalls of bringing people onto your policy, but it might mean that you get a cheaper quote. Now, the dreaded black box talk. Now, for me, I have already done a full video on black boxes and how I don't agree with them, but if this is the only way you're going to get into that Fiesta ST, that little fun car while you are young, say you're around 19, 20 years old, and that is the only way you're able to get in the car, you have to put up with it. It is such a shame, and I know it's just silliness in my opinion, but that is the way some insurance companies are going to be able to give you a decent enough price without doubling your insurance. But if you can afford it, don't go for a black box. This is coming from a car enthusiast. Obviously, if you have to do it, you have to do it. That's just the way it is. And then look towards the future and the next year and the year after, and the fact that you may be able to have a car without that black box after having it, and building up a no claims discount. The next one is shopping around. Now, you can go to price comparison websites and Money Supermarket and stuff, and I do that from time to time on, you know, sometimes more expensive cars, just to see what the difference is from what I'm paying now to what I'm paying for a new car, say. But this sometimes is not the reality, and you can get cheaper quotes elsewhere. Now, of course, this isn't a paid promotion by Greenlight, but they gave me the best insurance quote that they could, and in fact they blew everybody out of the water on this car with all of the mods on it. Actually got it £250 cheaper than the previous year on this car. So if I had not rung them up, chatted to the guys, gone through exactly everything that I do for a living, where it's going to be parked, all that sort of stuff, and a mileage declaration on this car, I would not have got that saving. So that is one of the things. Just make sure you shop around. Do not go to price comparison websites and try to get the best deal there, because sometimes there may be a better deal by ringing up and just doing your research. I know it's a bit silly and you have to ring people up and talk for 30 minutes to an hour per time, but it could save you a hell of a lot of money. So guys, I really hope this video has helped some of you out there. Of course, insurance is really down to the person that is driving, what they are driving, where they live, where they park it, and various other things. I fortunately live on the Isle of Wight, so not too many of these cars especially get stolen, so it is relatively cheap to insure a car down here. If I was to insure this in the middle of London, I'm convinced it would be twice the price with the modifications on there, because people like stealing cars these days, unfortunately. But if you are after a hot hatch, please do your research. One of these, they're very expensive. They're, you know, you can finance them. It is a fantastic car, but make sure you're doing your research prior to actually buying something this. Please don't go to a dealership, buy it, put a deposit down, get the finance through, and then find out it's too much to actually run and insure and all that sort of stuff, because unfortunately, from personal experience, I've actually done that before. So I would tell you guys not to go and do that, because cars like this are fantastic, but you've really got to make sure you're buying this car and making sure that you can afford the insurance. Insurance is key, and if you are going to modify it, tell them beforehand. So after my 12 years of running and insuring and uninsuring cars, the last thing I'm going to say is try to sell your car when your insurance is up, because you will be charged maybe even the whole policy sometimes for actually cancelling a car insurance policy. So make sure you are doing your research. But yeah, it's one of those things you're probably going to end up saving money down the line by actually insuring a car when this insurance is up, if that makes any sense. There'll be no hidden charges. You won't get charged for cancelling the policy, £25 admin fee for like clicking a button, because insurance companies love doing that. Anyway guys, I hope this was slightly informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below, give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you on the next one.